While walking in the halls, someone pushed me and said, "Aren't your shoes part of the kiddie crew?" I had no idea what Jake meant when he shoved me against the lockers outside chemistry class. I looked down at my beat-up black Adidas and then back at his face, but he was already walking away with this weird smirk that made my skin crawl. "I'm Danny, and I'm a junior at Riverside High. Pretty normal kid, decent grades, play some basketball, nothing particularly special about me." I'd never heard of any kiddie crew and honestly thought Jake was just being random. He was known for saying weird stuff to get reactions from people. But then I started noticing things that didn't make sense. Over the next week, I saw other students wearing identical white sneakers with this tiny silver cat logo on the heel. Not the same brand as mine, but these specific shoes I'd never seen in any store. And the kids wearing them all seemed to act completely differently than before. They'd show up to class 15 minutes late, but teachers never marked them tardy. They'd skip lunch detention without consequences. When Mrs. Rodriguez caught Tyler cheating on a major test, he just pointed down at his shoes and she let him retake it privately in her office, instead of sending him to the principal like she would anyone else. I asked my friend Marcus if he knew anything about a kiddie crew. He looked around nervously like someone might be listening and said he'd heard some rumors but didn't want to talk about it here. Then he walked away quickly, which wasn't like Marcus at all. He usually loved gossip. The shoes cost $200 according to their company website, way more than most kids at our school could afford, especially with families struggling since the factory closures. But I kept seeing more and more students wearing them every day. Quiet kids who usually kept their heads down were suddenly confident and relaxed in ways that seemed impossible. During gym class, I overheard two seniors talking by the bleachers. One said his grades had improved dramatically since joining, going from C's to A's practically overnight. The other mentioned getting special help with college applications from guidance counselors, but when they noticed me listening, they stopped talking immediately and moved to the other side of the gymnasium. I tried asking my older sister Emma about it when she picked me up after basketball practice. She graduated from Riverside 2 years ago and knew everything about school drama. Her face went completely pale when I mentioned the kiddie crew. "Danny, stay away from whatever that is," she said, gripping the steering wheel so tight her knuckles turned white. "Some things at that school aren't what they seem. Trust me on this." But she wouldn't explain what she meant no matter how much I pressed her, just kept insisting I should focus on my grades and stay out of trouble. That night, I couldn't stop thinking about all the weird pieces that didn't fit together. The next day, I decided to follow Tyler after school ended. He was one of the kids with the special shoes who'd gotten that bizarre treatment from Mrs. Rodriguez. Instead of heading to the parking lot, he walked toward the old wing of the school that was supposed to be closed for renovations since last spring. I waited 5 minutes, then crept down the empty hallway. I could hear multiple voices coming from room 104, Mr. Peterson's old classroom that had been sitting empty all year. The door was slightly open, and I carefully peered through the narrow crack. There were maybe 15 students inside, all wearing those distinctive white shoes with the silver cat logos. They were sitting in a perfect circle, but this wasn't any normal club meeting I'd ever seen at school. Mr. Peterson was there too, along with two other teachers I recognized from the math and English departments. They were passing around manila envelopes, and I heard Peterson say something about payment schedules and maintaining grade improvements. One student raised his hand and asked about recruiting new members, and Peterson pointed toward a list written on the whiteboard behind him. My name was written there in blue marker. I stepped back from the door, my heart racing and hands shaking, trying to process what I was actually seeing. That's when I felt a hand grab my shoulder firmly, and I spun around to see Jake standing directly behind me with those same white shoes on his feet. And that's when I finally realized what the kiddie crew really was. "It's a grade-fixing ring," Jake says, his voice low but unmistakably smug. "Run by teachers." My blood turns to ice. The words hang in the air between us as everything suddenly clicks into place: the special treatment, the improved grades, the mysterious meetings. I take an instinctive step backward, nearly tripping over my own feet. "I need to go," I mutter, turning to leave, but Jake's grip on my shoulder tightens. "Not so fast, Danny boy. You've seen too much already." I try to break free and run toward the main hallway, but as I round the corner, I collide with two more students wearing those same white sneakers. They block my path, arms folded across their chests. Behind me, the door to room 104 opens wider, and Mr. Peterson steps out. "Mr. Alvarez," he says calmly, as if finding students lurking outside closed meetings is perfectly normal. "Why don't you join us? We were just discussing potential new members." His tone leaves no room for refusal. With kiddie crew members blocking both directions of the hallway, I reluctantly follow Mr. Peterson into room 104, Jake's hand still firmly on my shoulder. Inside, the circle of students has expanded to make room. All eyes are on me as I enter, some faces showing amusement, others curiosity. The two other teachers, Miss Collins from English and Mr. Ramirez from the math department, exchange glances. "Danny was just doing some reconnaissance," Jake announces to the room, caught him peeking through the door. Mr. Peterson gestures to an empty chair. "Have a seat, Danny." I sit down, feeling like I've stepped into some bizarre alternate universe where teachers run secret societies out of abandoned classrooms. "Since you've already witnessed part of our meeting, let me explain what we're about," Mr. Peterson says, pacing slowly around the circle. "The kiddie crew isn't just a fashion statement. It's an opportunity, a guarantee of academic success." Tyler, the kid who got caught cheating, nods enthusiastically. "I was failing 3 classes last semester. Now I'm getting straight A's. And it's not just grades." A girl I recognize from my history class adds, "It's recommendations, college application, Help, everything. Mr. Peterson stops directly in front of me. We select students who show potential but might need assistance navigating the educational system. For a reasonable fee, we ensure your academic record reflects your true potential. You mean you fix grades for money? I say, unable to keep the disbelief from my voice. Several students shift uncomfortably, but Mr. Peterson just smiles. We prefer to think of it as removing unnecessary obstacles. The educational system is broken, Danny. We're simply leveling the playing field. Percetted. Jake pulls out his phone and shows me his grade portal. Row after row of A's shine on the screen. I was a C student last year, he says. Now I'm getting scholarship offers. But that's cheating, I protest, looking around the room. You're not actually learning anything. Miss Collins steps forward. Learning takes many forms, Danny. Some students excel at standardized testing. Others have different skills that our rigid system fails to recognize. Mr. Peterson opens a drawer and pulls out a shoebox, setting it on the desk in front of me. Inside is a pristine pair of white sneakers with the Silver Cat logo gleaming on the heel. Membership costs $200, he explains. The shoes are your identification, your pass to academic freedom. $200? I repeat, thinking about the factory closures. How many families in our town are struggling to make ends meet? That's why you're targeting students for recruitment to make money? Mr. Peterson's smile tightens slightly. We're offering a service. Students pay, teachers provide grade improvements. Everyone benefits. What about the students who can't afford to pay? I ask. That's not our concern, Mr. Ramirez says with a dismissive wave. The world isn't fair, Danny. We're just acknowledging that reality. I look around at the other students, wondering how many of them truly believe this is okay, and how many just feel trapped now that they're involved. Your name is on our recruitment list for a reason, Mr. Peterson continues. Your basketball coach mentioned you've been struggling with chemistry. Your sister Emma was quite good at it, as I recall. The mention of Emma makes my stomach drop. Her warning suddenly makes perfect sense. She knew about this, maybe was even approached herself. So this is how it works, I say slowly. Students pay for the shoes, wear them to show their members, and teachers just change their grades? It's more sophisticated than that, Miss Collins explains. We provide answer keys for tests, regrade assignments more favorably, offer extra credit opportunities only to members, nothing that would trigger suspicion from administration. Tyler leans forward eagerly. And if you get caught doing something wrong, like I did, your shoes are like a get-out-of-jail-free card. The best part, Jake adds, is that colleges don't know the difference. An A is an A on your transcript. I think about all the hours I've spent studying, all the late nights working on assignments, trying to keep my grades up, honestly. Meanwhile, kids with $200 to spare are buying their way to the top. So what's it going to be, Danny? Mr. Peterson asks, pushing the shoebox closer to me. Are you in or out? The room falls silent as everyone waits for my answer. I stare at the pristine white sneakers, the Silver Cat logo catching the fluorescent light. What happens if I say no? I ask, already suspecting the answer. Jake laughs, but there's no humor in it. Let's just say it would be a shame if your basketball eligibility was affected by a sudden drop in your GPA. Or if colleges received anonymous tips about academic dishonesty, adds Mr. Ramirez. The threat is clear. I'm either with them or against them, and being against them carries consequences I'm not sure I can afford. I need time to think, I say finally, my mind racing through limited options. Mr. Peterson checks his watch. You have until Friday. The price goes up to $250 after that. He closes the shoebox. And Danny, this conversation never happened. Understand? As the meeting breaks up, students file out in small groups to avoid suspicion. Jake walks me to the door, his arm around my shoulders like we're suddenly best friends. Don't overthink it, he whispers. Everyone's doing it. Why shouldn't you? I nod non-committally and walk away, my mind spinning with what I've just discovered. The Kitty Crew isn't just a weird clique, it's a full-blown corruption scheme with teachers at the center, preying on students' desperation for academic success. And now I have 3 days to decide whether to join them or face their wrath. I spend the entire weekend stressing over my impossible choice. Join a corrupt ring of grade fixers or face academic sabotage. By Sunday night, my stomach is in knots, and I still haven't decided what to do. You look like you're about to throw up, Emma says when she finds me staring blankly at my chemistry textbook. What's going on? I almost tell her everything, but Mr. Peterson's warning echoes in my head. This conversation never happened. Instead, I mutter something about a tough test coming up. Emma studies my face for a moment. Is this about those white shoes everyone's wearing? My head snaps up. What do you know about them? She sits on the edge of my bed, suddenly serious. Just be careful, Danny. Some things at Riverside aren't worth getting involved in. Monday morning arrives too quickly. I've made my decision. I'll attend one meeting, gather information, and then figure out my next move. I'm not buying the shoes. Not yet, anyway. I just need time to understand what I'm up against. After school, I head to room 104, my heart hammering against my ribs. Jake is waiting outside, leaning against the wall, with that same smug smile. Look who decided to join the winning team, he says, clapping me on the shoulder. Smart choice. I'm just here to learn more, I say, shrugging off his hand. I haven't decided anything yet. Jake's smile falters slightly. Whatever you say, man. Just remember what happens to people who cross us. Inside, the room is more organized than last time. Desks arranged in a circle, manila folders stacked neatly on Mr. Peterson's desk. About 20 students are already seated, all wearing those pristine white sneakers. I recognize faces from different social circles, athletes, debate team members, even a couple of kids from the Honor Society. The common thread seems to be families with money, though I know several whose parents were hit hard by the factory closures. Mr. Peterson enters, followed by Miss Collins and Mr. Ramirez. They lock the door behind them. "Welcome, everyone," Mr. Peterson says, his eyes lingering on me. "I see we have a potential new member with us today." All eyes turn to me. I force myself to meet their gazes, refusing to look intimidated. "Danny is considering our offer," Jake explains. "He's got until Friday to decide." Mr. Peterson nods. "Perfect timing then. Today we're discussing payment structures and our grade guarantee system." He pulls down a projection screen and clicks through a PowerPoint presentation that looks disturbingly professional. There are actual pricing tiers: basic membership at $200 for grade bumps in 1 or 2 classes, premium at $350 for full schedule coverage, and something called platinum status at $500 that includes college application enhancement. "What exactly is college application enhancement?" I ask. Before I can stop myself, Mr. Peterson smiles. "Excellent question. Miss Collins, would you like to explain?" Miss Collins steps forward. "As the English department representative, I oversee personal statements and recommendation letters. For platinum members, we provide embellished versions of both. We highlight leadership qualities you may not possess yet, community service you haven't quite completed, and academic achievements that are slightly aspirational." "You mean you lie," I say flatly. The room goes silent. Mr. Peterson's smile doesn't waver, but his eyes harden. "We present the best possible version of our students," he corrects. "Colleges expect this game to be played. Everyone does it." "Not everyone," I mutter, but no one seems to hear me. Mr. Ramirez takes over, explaining how grade changes are implemented. "We use a 3-tiered approach to avoid detection. First, we adjust individual assignments gradually. Second, we offer Kitty Crew members special extra credit opportunities. Third, we maintain separate grade books that are merged only at reporting time." He clicks to a slide showing actual student transcripts before and after versions side by side. The differences are dramatic. D's and C's transformed into A's and B's. While he talks, I discreetly slide my phone from my pocket and position it under the desk. I snap photos whenever someone's attention is elsewhere. The payment structure slide, the transcript comparisons, the list of participating teachers that flashes briefly on screen. "What about standardized tests?" someone asks. "Those can't be changed." "Excellent point," Mr. Peterson says. "For SATs and ACTs, we offer special prep sessions, and for those who need more direct assistance, we have arrangements with certain test proctors." My stomach drops. This is bigger than I thought, systematic cheating that extends beyond Riverside's walls. After the presentation, Mr. Peterson hands out manila envelopes to current members. "Your midterm grade adjustments," he explains. "Review them before Friday and let us know if you need any modifications." The meeting continues with discussions about recruiting more students and expanding to neighboring schools. I keep my head down, occasionally nodding while secretly photographing everything I can. When we finally break, Jake corners me near the door. "So, ready to buy your shoes?" "I need to think about it," I say. "It's a lot of money." His eyes narrow. "Don't overthink this, Danny. You're either with us or against us." I nod non-committally and hurry out, desperate for fresh air. The weight of what I've witnessed feels suffocating. At home, I find Emma waiting in the living room. Something about my face must give me away because she immediately turns off the TV. "What happened?" she asks. This time I tell her everything. The meetings, the grade fixing, the college application fraud. With each detail, her face grows paler. "You need to stay away from them," she whispers when I finish. "I can't. They're threatening to tank my grades if I don't join." Emma's hands clench into fists. "They did the same to me 2 years ago." "What?" I stare at her in shock. "You knew about this?" She nods slowly. "They approached me senior year. I was going to expose them, had evidence and everything, but then they threatened to retroactively fail me in 3 classes. I would have lost my scholarship to state. So you just let them continue?" "I didn't have a choice." Her voice cracks. "They had photos of me at a party I shouldn't have been at, drinking. Said they'd send them to the scholarship committee. I couldn't risk it." I pull out my phone and show her the photos I took. "Well, I'm not backing down. I've got evidence now too." Emma grabs my wrist, her fingers digging in. "Be careful, Danny. These aren't just entitled kids. The teachers are making serious money. They won't let you ruin this for them." "So what am I supposed to do? Join them? Pay $200 for shoes I don't want just to get grades I didn't earn?" She shakes her head. "I don't know, but don't underestimate them. They've been running this for years." Later that night, I transfer the photos to my laptop and study them carefully. The operation is sophisticated, with detailed records of payments and grade changes. I notice Mr. Peterson's handwriting on one document, a list of potential recruits with my name circled in blue marker. Over the next 2 days, I attend more meetings, each time gathering more evidence. I learn that the principal gets a percentage of all payments, that certain college admissions officers receive consulting fees, and that the operation has spread to 2 other schools in neighboring districts. By Thursday, my phone is filled with damning photos and recordings. I'm careful to keep my face neutral during meetings, to laugh at their jokes about clueless students who study hard, to nod when they discuss which teachers to recruit next. But inside, I'm seething. The system is rigged, not just against me, but against everyone who plays by the rules. Kids whose parents can't afford the $200 entry fee. Students who actually put in the work. Friday morning, Jake finds me at my locker. "Time's up, Danny boy. You bringing the cash today or what?" I force a smile. "Yeah, I've got it. See you after school." He grins and walks away, high-fiving another Kitty Crew member. I close my locker and lean my forehead against the cool metal. I've made my decision, but it's not the one they're expecting. I need to talk to Marcus. If anyone can help me figure out what to do with this evidence, it's him. What I don't expect is that Marcus already knows far more than I do about just how deep this corruption goes. I spend the next 2 days obsessively organizing my evidence. Every photo, every recording, every document I've managed to capture gets backed up to 3 different places: my laptop, a cloud account, and a USB drive I keep hidden in my sock drawer. The paranoia is getting to me, making me jump whenever my phone buzzes. You need to show this to someone, I mutter to myself, scrolling through the photos for the 100th time. The question is who? The principal is clearly involved, taking his cut of every payment. Most of the teachers I trust are either part of the scheme or too new to have any real influence. There's only one person I can think of who might help Marcus. I find him after school, lurking near the art room where fewer students hang out. When he sees me approaching, his eyes dart around like he's looking for an escape route. We need to talk, I say, keeping my voice low. About the kiddie crew. Marcus's face goes pale. Not here, man. Then where? He checks his watch. Meet me at Riverside Park in an hour. The picnic table's behind the maintenance shed. An hour later, I'm sitting at a weathered picnic table, nervously tapping my foot against the dirt. The park is mostly empty on a weekday afternoon, just a few kids on the playground and some elderly people walking the perimeter trail. Marcus arrives 10 minutes late, looking over his shoulder before sliding onto the bench across from me. Show me what you've got, he says without preamble. I pull out my phone and start scrolling through the photos, explaining each one as Marcus's expression grows increasingly grim. This is worse than I thought, he says when I finish, but it's also not the whole story. What do you mean? Marcus leans forward, lowering his voice even though no one is nearby. The kiddie crew isn't just a high school scam, it's connected to something bigger. He pulls out his own phone and shows me photos I haven't seen, spreadsheets tracking payments from multiple schools, email exchanges between Mr. Peterson and administrators at other districts, bank statements showing transfers to offshore accounts. How did you get these? I ask, stunned. My cousin works IT for the district. He's been tracking suspicious network activity for months, started when he noticed encrypted files being sent from the school servers late at night. I stare at the evidence on his screen. This is way bigger than grade fixing. It's a full-on racket. Marcus confirms. The principal takes 15% of all payments. The superintendent gets 10%. The rest gets distributed among participating teachers based on how many students they recruit. The superintendent is involved? My stomach drops. Then who can we even report this to? Marcus scrolls to another document. That's not all. Look at this. It's a college acceptance letter for a student I recognize, Tyler, the guy who got caught cheating. The letter is from Princeton, congratulating him on his early admission. Tyler's GPA was 2.1 before Kiddie Crew, Marcus says. Now he's going to an Ivy League school. They're falsifying transcripts, test scores, everything. How are they not getting caught? Colleges must verify this stuff. Colleges must verify this stuff. They have people on the inside, Marcus explains. Admissions officers who get kickbacks for accepting Kiddie Crew students. It's all in these files. I run my hands through my hair, trying to process the scale of this corruption. So what do? We can't go to the principal or the superintendent. There's one person at school who's definitely not involved, Marcus says, Miss Winters. The guidance counselor. I remember her, a newer hire who's always seemed genuinely concerned about students. She's been asking questions about some suspicious acceptance letters. My cousin says she's the only administrator who's not on any of the payment lists. I nod slowly. Okay, we talked to Miss Winters, but we need to be careful. If they find out, we're on to them. They'll do worse than tank your grades, Marcus finishes grimly. We agree to meet with Miss Winters tomorrow during lunch. I head home, the weight of what we've discovered making my shoulders ache. The corruption isn't just a few teachers making extra cash, it's systematic, organized, and reaches far beyond Riverside High. At home, I find Emma in the kitchen making dinner. Our parents are working late again. The factory closures have forced them to take on extra shifts at their new jobs. You look terrible, Emma says, studying my face. What's going on? I tell her about meeting with Marcus, about the wider conspiracy we've uncovered. With each detail, her expression grows darker. This is exactly what I was afraid of, she says, lowering the heat on the stove. Danny, these people have power and money. They'll crush anyone who threatens that. So we just let them get away with it? Let them keep selling fake grades and college admissions while kids who work hard get screwed? Emma sighs. No, but you need to be smarter about this. Anonymous tips, encrypted emails, something that can't be traced back to you. Before I can respond, my phone buzzes. It's a text from an unknown number. We know what you're doing. Back off if you know what's good for you. I show Emma the message, and her face goes white. They're watching you. This isn't a game, Danny. I never thought it was, I mutter, deleting the text with shaking hands. The next morning, I find my locker vandalized, the door hanging open, books torn and scattered on the floor. Someone has spray-painted a silver cat logo on the inside of the door with the words, "Last warning" beneath it. Students walk past, carefully avoiding eye contact. No one stops to help as I gather my ruined textbooks. Jake appears beside me, leaning against the neighboring locker. Tough break, Danny boy. Looks like someone's sending you a message. Yeah, real subtle, I say, trying to keep my voice steady. Tell your bosses they could use some creativity lessons. Jake's smile disappears. This isn't a joke. You've been poking around where you shouldn't, taking pictures, asking questions. He leans closer. Mr. Peterson knows about your little meeting with Marcus yesterday. He knows you're planning to talk to Miss Winters. My blood runs cold. How? We have eyes everywhere, Jake says, gesturing vaguely down the hallway. That's your final warning. Drop it now, or things get much worse than a trashed locker. He walks away, high-fiving another kitty crew member as he goes. I finish gathering my books, my mind racing. They're watching me, tracking my movements. They even know about our plan to meet Miss Winters. I text Marcus, they know. Meeting compromised. Don't go to W's office. His response comes seconds later. Too late. Already here. W wants to see you. Now. I hurry to the guidance office, heart pounding. When I arrive, Miss Winters is sitting behind her desk, looking pale. Marcus sits across from her, his expression grim. Close the door, Danny, Miss Winters says quietly. I do as she asks, then take the seat next to Marcus. Marcus has shown me some disturbing evidence. She begins, her voice barely above a whisper. I've suspected something was wrong for months, but this. She gestures to Marcus's phone on her desk. This is criminal activity. We need your help, I say. The principal is involved. The superintendent, too. Miss Winters nods slowly. I know people at the state education department who aren't connected to this district, people who can investigate without tipping off the administration. Hope flickers in my chest for the first time in days. So you'll help us? Yes, but her office phone rings, cutting her off. She answers, listens for a moment, then her face drains of color. I understand. I'll be right there. She hangs up and looks at us with frightened eyes. That was the principal. He wants to see me immediately. She lowers her voice further. He mentioned that I should bring any students currently in my office. Marcus and I exchange alarmed glances. They know we're here, I whisper. Miss Winters quickly writes something on a sticky note and hands it to me. It's an email address and phone number. My college roommate works for the state education department. Contact her directly. Don't use school computers or phones. She stands, smoothing her skirt with trembling hands. I'll tell the principal I sent you both back to class. Go out the side door and don't be seen together. As we leave through the side exit, my phone buzzes again. Another text from the unknown number. Your academic future is in our hands. Think carefully about your next move. Marcus gets a similar message at the same time. His face hardens as he reads it. They're trying to scare us, he says. It's working, I admit, showing him my phone. But I'm not backing down. Me neither, Marcus says, his jaw set firmly. They messed with the wrong students. We split up, agreeing to meet after school at the public library where we can use computers that aren't monitored by the school. As I walk to my next class, I can feel eyes following me, students with white sneakers watching my every move, teachers whispering as I pass. The message is clear. I'm being hunted. But what they don't realize is that I'm no longer just gathering evidence. I'm preparing to fight back. I can't sleep. Every time I close my eyes, I see that silver cat logo, mocking me. It's been 3 days since Miss Winters was called to the principal's office, and no one's seen her since. The official story is she took emergency personal leave, but Marcus and I know better. They're watching the school email servers, Marcus says, hunched over a library computer far from any security cameras. We've been meeting at the public library every day after school, careful to arrive separately and sit at computers that aren't next to each other. We need to be smarter than them. I nod, typing the email address Miss Winters gave us into a new Gmail account I created specifically for this purpose. We've spent hours compiling everything we have. Photos, recordings, spreadsheets, everything Marcus's cousin managed to extract from the school servers into a single encrypted file. You sure this will work? I ask, my finger hovering over the send button. No, Marcus admits, but it's our best shot. I click send, and we watch the progress bar crawl across the screen. When it finally says, message sent, I feel a weight lift from my shoulders, followed immediately by a wave of panic. What if they trace it back to us? I whisper. Marcus closes his laptop. That's why we're sending it to 3 different places at once. The school board, the local newspaper, and Miss Winters' contact at the state education department. Someone has to act on it. And if they don't, he doesn't answer, which is answer enough. The next day at school, I can feel eyes on me everywhere I go. Students in white sneakers track my movements in the hallways. Mr. Peterson stares at me throughout chemistry class with a look that makes my skin crawl. Even the cafeteria ladies seem to be watching me more closely than usual. They know, I mutter to Marcus when we pass in the hallway between classes. Just act normal, he whispers back. 3 more days. That's how long Miss Winters' friend said it would take to review everything. 3 days feels like an eternity when you're being hunted. I find another threatening note in my gym locker. This one more specific. Your basketball eligibility depends on your silence. The coach pulls me aside after practice to tell me my grades are concerning, and I might need to sit out the next game even though I checked my grade portal that morning and had all Bs. At home, Emma notices my distraction during dinner. Did something happen? She asks when our parents leave the kitchen. I push my food around my plate. We sent the evidence to the school board, the newspaper, and someone at the state education department. Her fork clatters against her plate. Danny, they'll come after you. You know that, right? They already are, I admit, showing her the threatening notes I've been collecting. But what choice do we have? Let them keep cheating the system? Let kids who can't afford those stupid shoes get left behind? Emma's quiet for a long moment. I should have done more when I was there, she finally says. I was too scared. We're all scared, I tell her, but that doesn't mean we can't also be brave. The next morning, I arrive at school to find an unusual number of cars in the parking lot, including several with official state government plates. Students cluster in small groups, whispering urgently as I walk past. No one will meet my eyes, not even the kitty crew members who've been tormenting me for weeks. Marcus finds me at my locker, his eyes wide with excitement. It's happening, he says under his breath. State investigators showed up first thing. They're interviewing teachers one by one. My heart pounds against my ribs. What about the principal? Locked in his office with 2 investigators since 7 a.m., Marcus can't keep the smile off his face. They're going through records, checking gradebooks against the official transcripts. Throughout the day, the tension in the school builds like a thunderstorm. Teachers are called out of classes and don't return. Substitute teachers appear, looking confused about why they've been summoned. During lunch, I noticed several Kitty Crew members huddled together, their faces pale with panic. Jake isn't among them. Rumor has it he was pulled out of first period and hasn't been seen since. By 7th period, an official announcement comes over the PA system. All students are to report directly to the gymnasium for an emergency assembly. The gym fills slowly, everyone unusually quiet. I spot Marcus across the room and give him a subtle nod. We did this. Whatever happens next, we made it happen. A woman I don't recognize takes the microphone. She introduces herself as Dr. Ramirez from the State Department of Education. Beside her stands a man in a police uniform and another woman in a business suit. Students of Riverside High, Dr. Ramirez begins, her voice echoing through the silent gym. I regret to inform you that several serious allegations of academic misconduct have been brought to our attention. Following a preliminary investigation today, we have found evidence supporting these allegations. Murmurs ripple through the crowd. I keep my face carefully neutral, even as my heart races. Effective immediately, Principal Dawson has been placed on administrative leave. Several teachers have also been removed pending further investigation. She pauses, her gaze sweeping across the gymnasium. This is a difficult time for your school community. The integrity of your education is our highest priority, and we will be conducting a thorough review of all academic records to ensure fairness. The police officer steps forward next. Additionally, evidence of financial impropriety has been uncovered. We are investigating potential criminal charges related to fraud, bribery, and extortion. The whispers grow louder. Students shift uncomfortably in their seats. I notice several kids trying to hide their white sneakers under the bleachers. If any student has information regarding these allegations, or if you have been affected by these activities, we encourage you to speak with one of our investigators. Dr. Ramirez continues, your conversations will be confidential and protected. As the assembly ends, chaos erupts. Students rush to their phones, texting frantically. Some are crying. Others look shell-shocked. The Kitty Crew members seem to have vanished entirely. Outside the gym, Marcus finds me. They did it, he says quietly. They actually did it. What happens now? I ask. Before he can answer, we're approached by the woman in the business suit who was standing on stage. Daniel Alvarez and Marcus Chen, she asks. We nod, suddenly wary. I'm Caroline Winters, she says. Miss Winters' friend from the State Department. She wanted me to thank you personally. She hands us each a business card. We'll need your formal statements, but not here. Too many eyes and ears. Over the next week, Riverside High transforms. The interim principal, a retired administrator named Dr. Foster, implements a complete audit of all grades from the past 3 years. Students who were part of Kitty Crew face academic reviews not to punish them, but to assess their actual knowledge and provide legitimate support where needed. The local newspaper runs a front-page story about the Riverside grade-fixing scandal, carefully protecting the identities of the student whistleblowers. 3 teachers, including Mr. Peterson, are placed on unpaid leave pending criminal investigations. The principal resigns officially 2 days later. The white sneakers disappear from the hallways, replaced by a new sense of purpose. Students who struggled under the old system now have access to legitimate resources, tutoring programs, study groups, academic counseling. Emma helps me set up a peer tutoring initiative, using her chemistry knowledge to help students who were falling behind. Marcus develops a secure online platform where students can anonymously report any future misconduct. You know what's weird? I tell Emma one evening as we're planning the next tutoring session, I thought exposing Kitty Crew would make me feel vindicated or something, but mostly I just feel sad. Sad? She looks up from her notes. Yeah, sad that so many people felt desperate enough to cheat. Sad that the system was so broken they thought buying their way out was the only option. Emma nods slowly. That's why this tutoring program matters. It shows there's another way. A month after the investigation began, Miss Winters returns to her position as guidance counselor. She calls me into her office, my first day back. I want you to know, she says, closing the door behind me, that what you and Marcus did took extraordinary courage. You risked your futures to protect the integrity of everyone's education. I shrug, uncomfortable with the praise. We just did what was right. That's rarer than you think, she says with a sad smile. The investigators found evidence of similar schemes at 3 other schools in neighboring districts. This was bigger than any of us realized. What happens to the students? I ask. The ones who were in Kitty Crew? Case-by-case evaluations, she explains. Some were victims of pressure or extortion. Others were willing participants. But all of them deserve a chance to earn their education legitimately. As I leave her office, I pass Jake in the hallway. His expensive white sneakers have been replaced by worn-out Converse. He doesn't meet my eyes. I could feel satisfied seeing him brought low, but instead I find myself feeling something unexpected hope. Hope that he, too, might find a better way forward. Hope that Riverside can heal from this and become something better. That evening, as I'm walking home from basketball practice, Emma pulls up beside me in her car. Need a ride, whistleblower? She teases. I climb in, tossing my gym bag in the back seat. Don't call me that. I'm just a normal kid again. Thank God. She laughs. Normal kids don't bring down corruption rings, Danny. Maybe they should, I say, looking out at Riverside as we drive past the factory that closed last year. Maybe that's exactly what normal should be.